Hello. Today I'm going to start an experiment. You guys remember me painting this fender. This is out in the sun now. And I kind of like the way it looks. It's not too bad. You can see reflection in it, just not clear. Still got a few fish eyes in it. But what I'm planning on doing today is a couple of different things. I'm going to wipe it down with paper towels and alcohol. Don't worry about this stuff down in here. This is leaves and dirt from blackberries that I was growing in there. I spray painted over it. Then I'm going to tape off sections of the fender. And what I want to do is I'm going to have a section of the fender that I spray gloss on. And yes, I'm going to use a rattle can. That's pretty good stuff actually. And I'm going to tape off a section that I'm going to spray gloss on. Half that gloss I'm going to sand and polish. The other half I'm going to leave alone. Probably leave this part alone here. Sand and polish this. Pre-sand this up here. And then clear it. Then sand and polish it and see how it looks. Then here I'll sand and polish it. And over here I'll just polish it. And I'll leave a section to where I didn't touch it. So we can all see what looks best. And whatever looks best, that's what I'm going to go with when I paint the truck. So it's been about 2 weeks since I painted this fender. I'm going to start off by wiping the whole thing down with alcohol. Taping off the sections like I told you I was going to do. Then I'm going to spray the clear on this half here. On this part here. Probably from right here down. And let that dry. And then we'll go from there. Alright. Back with you. Okay. I have not sanded this section here. I did not sand this section here. But I did sand that section there. Now what I'm going to do, it's going to be the control gloss side. I am going to spray this with gloss and leave it. I'm going to spray this with gloss and wet sand it and polish it. I'm going to spray that with gloss and wet sand it and polish it. See which one makes the difference. Now, it's all been wiped down with alcohol to get the grease off of it. This section here I sanded. I haven't taped it off yet, but I'm going to tape it off right there. I'm going to polish that. Over here, I'm going to polish that section, and this bottom is going to be the paint control side. It's just this bottom part. So we can see what the paint looked like when I didn't do anything to it, when I just polished it, when I sanded and polished it, when I sand, cleared, and maybe polished it. When I didn't sand, cleared, and then sanded, and then when I just cleared it. So we're going to see. Back in a few. I'm going to clear it now. Well, you know what? You can watch me if you want. I'm going to use this rattle can right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a light coat on there first. You want that to tack up so that the clear coat doesn't slide off and cause a sag or a run. Alright, I'm going to let that dry for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'll come back and lay a thicker coat on. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes since it's flashed off. I'm going to go ahead and put a heavier coat on it now. This clears, dries really quick. Try and back up here where I don't get all over my camera. I'll tell you right now, if this was a vertical surface, it'd have a run in it. And you can see right here, this is why you got to be careful around the edges that's sanded through all the way down to the metal. and I had that primed and painted. Maybe I should have laid it on a little thicker right there to avoid that. I don't know if you can hear that young'un crying over there. That's my niece. She wants her mama to pay her attention. I'm going to go ahead and lay a second coat on here while it's still wet, because it's already done started flashing off. And since I'm outside, I've got some gnats in this thing, so no comments, please. Alright. We're going to let that dry for a while. It's got some orange peel to it, which I expected. I can't see nothing in the monitor, so I won't know until I view this thing what it looks like up close. You see I got a bug right there. A couple of pieces of trash in there. Looks like a hair or something right there. That's all fine and good. Most of that'll come out when I wet sand it. Well, this here's not going to get wet sanded, but this will and that will. No, well, that'll get polished. This is already wet sanded. This will get wet sanded and then polished. That don't look very good. After I polish it, I will wet sand it and see what it looks like, because that one I wet sanded, then cleared it, and then polished it. This one was just cleared, then wet sanded, and then polished. And that one's just clear. I'm going to re-sand this again because it's got overcast on it. But this part here is going to get, it's wet sanded, it's going to get polished, compounded and polished. This will be compounded and polished. It has not been sanded. See my fingerprint up there. And this part I'm going to leave alone. So that's what's going on. We're going to let that dry, and when it's dry, I will wet sand it and show you. Alright, I'm back, and I wanted to show you the shines that I got. This surface here was just painted, compounded. Actually, I wet sanded it, compounded it, and polished it. And I don't know if you can see that. You can read the label in it. It's a lot better. This is just a painted surface here. Everything is really dark and blurry in there. Now this here is actually just polished. Now, I don't know if you can tell that down in there from the sunlight. Come over here. You know what, let's try this way. There. Can't get a lot of detail from just the paint. You get a little bit more detail from the polished paint. This is the wet sanded polished paint. Get a lot more detail. Okay, now this surface here is clear coated, but it was wet sanded first, then clear coated, then compounded and polished. I would say it cut down on the details because it hasn't been wet sanded like the other paint panel. This panel has been painted, clear coat, wet sanded, compounded, and polished. And I see a lot more detail in there than just paint and polished. Paint and sanded and polished. And that's just painted and clear coated. It's just like over there with the paint, you can't see anything. I don't know. I think that might have the best results right there. What What do you guys think? Now that's painted, wet sanded, clear coated, compounded, and polished. This is just painted, wet sanded, compounded, and polished. Now that's just painted and polished, and that's just painted. Of course, we're gonna have to polish it. I don't think anything else will do. But as you can see, I mean, the most shines for the least amount of work would probably be painted, compounded, well, I mean wet sanded, compounded, and polish it. But I really like the way the clear coat looks after it's been wet sanded and then compounded and polished. That looks really good compared to just clear coated, compounded, and polished. I mean, for me, it's either painted, wet sanded, compounded, and polished, or painted, cleared, wet sanded, compounded, and polished. Either way, it's got to be wet sanded after the finish coat's put on it, in my opinion. Now I'll show you this other fender I got over here. This fender came off of a Ford Focus, and I was messing around with it. You can see a bunch of fish eyes in there, but I don't know if you can see that shine. That's the same color as I painted my tractor. All I did was compound and polish it. Up here, this is painted with gold paint. Then it's clear coated, wet sanded, compound and polished. Actually, I wet sanded this and compound and polished it. But and my lawnmower looked that good, I'd be the envy of the neighborhood. Can't see my hand in it. There you go. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Y'all have a great day.